Welcome to another edition of All In with Ak and O.
It's your boy Ak.
And it's your boy O. Back with another one. This one here, man, is on the music industry and really the entertainment industry and how it's demonic. So we're going to go all in on this one. You know, one thing about the music industry is that people don't really think about, like, they don't see it as like it's like something that we enjoy, right? Because like most people enjoy it, not everybody. You know, one of my sons actually, believe it or not, he don't like music, but I think
it's natural, man. What's right and wrong is natural. Oh, so like basically what happens is, even though they give you all those little tunes and beats and all that, that's real melodic and hypnotic, and you feeling good and you get into the moment, the message is all in there, man, and it's subliminal sometimes, and nowadays it's a little more blatant. So it could be that's why one of your sons don't like it. Me personally, I don't really listen to it. We grew up off it, but times change and people change, man.
Yeah, and it's like, we hear a lot of stuff, we don't watch celebrities go off the rails and throw out little subliminals and all kind of stuff, right? But a lot of times I feel like that go over people's heads. It's like, and I think a lot of times we look at them like, oh, they just bugging, oh, they wow. We just look at the part that they bugging, you know what I mean? But it kind of goes over our head, like, what's making them do this? What's making them talk like this? What's making them act like this? You know what I'm saying?
And it don't even be subliminal. It be direct. It's just that you can't believe and you can't process some of the stuff that people saying. So it's just like, oh man, that was a joke, or they playing. But a lot of times these entertainers be crying out for help because they already made a bad choice, and now they're starting to regret it.
And that's the thing. It's like, listen, especially for if you thinking of going in this industry, and we're gonna touch a lot about the music industry, but it's really entertainment because it applies to all entertainment, and the thing is, it's like the powers that be, they control this. And the things that come behind it, we gotta be careful. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even go, hey, we all in, but you know what I'm saying? But we gotta be smart too. You know what I'm saying?
That's a whole fact, man.
And so we gotta tread carefully. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to, like, look, I ain't saying no names, no nothing. I'm just gonna say, kind of like I heard OG Percy say, is the system. You know what I'm saying? And there's people that's controlling all this stuff, and you gotta play ball, man. Let me put it there. It's like, you gotta play the system game, and if you ain't playing that system, you ain't gonna reach a certain level. You might be.
That's a given. Yeah, that's a given. I mean, honestly, they let you start up. They want to see how much you really love this thing. So, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into it. And then in order to reach that next level, obviously, you're going to be approached by people that the powers that be. And, they're going to give you these ultimatums where a lot of people take them because they see the short-sighted goal, which is the fame, which is the money, which is the success, which is all they consider everything that should be coming out of this lifestyle. But at what price do you attain these things? And a lot of time, these people are getting these things by selling their souls. Just straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they denounce anything that's good, and, they pledge allegiance to what is bad. And I mean, in a nutshell, that's really what's happening. And, a lot of times, right after that, you'll see a person blow up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, unimaginably. I mean, they'll be on all types of social medias. They'll be on commercials. They'll be on, like on the videos. I mean, they're in your face 24/7 to where they're embedded. But a lot of times you'd be surprised. They're not going off of their talent at that point. Now what they're doing is using these ghostwriters and all that other stuff, and they sending out messages, subliminal messages, that's casting things on people.
Yeah.
And I was just watching a video today about that where there was one person that used to be in the music industry, and they started from young, and they started off with Wiccans and all that, like that new age stuff, and that just blew right into the full-fledged witchcraft. And a lot of things that they were referencing to are the words that people use, man. It's dangerous.
Yeah, they really, man, people might not believe this, but when you cut an album, for the big boys, but basically when you cut an album, they taking that, and that thing is being put through an altar, a demonic altar, and they're conjuring up demons, man. Real talk. They conjuring up demons and all kind of stuff, and they sending that in there. Not to mention with just what you just said with the words. You know what I'm saying? Like these words that's really witch talk. You know what I'm saying? And
you wouldn't even know, and your kids be walking around saying these things all day in your house, not really realizing what they're letting enter into your homes, man.
Yeah, and they don't realize they're casting spells on themselves and others. Every now is more streaming, but each artist you have on your playlist, those that you could count however many artists you have, and that's how many demons you have. And it's real talk. Like people don't want to believe that, but like how many songs we know all the words, every word, and we don't. When you break it down, you really analyze the song. You don't even know what it's talking about.
It doesn't even make sense half the time.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell is it even talking about?
And then when you go a little bit further, you start realizing that certain words pop up over and over again in different people's songs too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like these certain phrases, keywords, etc. These are all ways of summoning these demons, these jinns. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is now they have an attachment to you because you bother them. One thing that jinns don't want to do is be bothered. And once you bother them, you're stuck with them.
Mm.
Even after you try to stop and all that other stuff, it's almost like a forever pact. You're always going to have some sense of it with you. And it's crazy because a lot of times they start to harm you. They start to mess with the things around you. I mean, people potentially lose their minds after that. And you don't even realize it. A lot of these people that we see are not even mentally stable at this point. But they got a whole bunch of handlers and people around them that's always watching them that make sure they don't do anything out of character.
Yeah, because that's one thing is like, look, when you get down, you gotta play the game. And you cross any lines, you cross any of them lines, and you playing with.
You pay with your life, man.
Yeah, like
it's just that simple.
Yo, it's not a game, man. And you know what? You gotta sacrifice something. Like you gotta whether that's a person you love or whether it's your own dignity. You know what I'm saying? Your own, your own through humiliation. You know what I'm saying? Like all kind of stuff. You definitely gotta give up something. And they got you. It's really a can of worms that you don't want to open up. This because it's really not a game, man. You think,
and there's no limits.
Yeah.
There's no limits because you fail to realize who you up against.
Right.
See, when you're dealing with jinns and devils and all that stuff, that means that anything that's good, you're going against that, whether it's big or small. So there's nothing off limits. I'm talking about kids, and they get you young. These childhood stars, oh man, by the time they reach age, they're finished already.
Yeah, man. How often do you You know how often do you hear of a childhood star that turns out okay? Rarely, or I don't know any, man. They all end up all messed up, man.
Or they go early.
Yeah, or they go, you know, if they even around. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And 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 that's the thing. It's like, you know, people. You know what it is too? Is that people don't really know the origins of music. People just look at it like, you know, this is, oh, music just been around for forever, you know, this and that. But there's actually origins, you know, and I would like to, you know, I would like to tell people the origins of it, like where it really started, you know, and obviously this is, you know, it's from an Islamic perspective, but, you know, for information's sake, you don't got to be Muslim to hear something, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I definitely would like to get into that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you should, like, you know, give them a little taste of what you're trying to say. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, basically, look, so basically from the time everybody knows of Cain and Abel, right? And so basically what ended up happening, to make that short, right, is when you had Cain and Abel, when Cain killed Abel, right, what he ended up doing ultimately is that he went on his own. He couldn't be around anymore. He couldn't be around his father Adam because of the guilt. And
Right.
he had bad characteristics. He had, you know what I mean? Look, he committed murder. First murder ever. And basically when he went off, his people, they grew to be a people over time. And those people basically had different characteristics than the people that stood with Adam and his children. So they stood on the truth. They stood on the goodness. They had better characteristics. But the people of Cain, they had the bad characteristics. And the law back then was they couldn't mix. Like the people, the children of Adam, the ones that stood with him, they weren't allowed to mix with these people.
Right.
And then over time, what ended up happening was Shaitan, because Shaitan was, which is Satan, he was basically allowed to use his sounds, to use his weapons, right? And Allah told him, you could even use your sounds. But what he ended up doing was, over time, he came to them, he decided, I'm going to go to the side of Cain. Because these people's characteristics weren't as good as the other ones.
Right.
Now, they still wasn't evil, like they wasn't worshiping multiple gods. Nobody was worshiping idols or nothing like that. This is like, we talking about like way in the beginning of mankind. You know what I'm saying? The super early days. And then what ended up happening was he decided, I'm going to come to them as a man, right? And what he did was, because the on the side of Abel, on the side of Adam, the good side, the men, they was good looking, and the women wasn't that good looking. And on the other side, it was the opposite. The women were good looking, but the men wasn't that good looking. So he decided, I'm gonna come as a good looking man and pretend that I'm coming from the other side. And I'm gonna come to these people and I'm gonna gain their trust. And when he went to them, right, he started working hard. He started, you know what I mean? He wasn't acting evil. He wasn't doing none of that. He was coming like a good person, and they was happy. Oh, we got like a defector, you know what I mean? We got somebody from the other side. Oh, yeah, cool, you know. And on top of that, he was a good-looking man, you know what I mean? So, you know, so he was welcomed or whatever. He worked hard, you know. He got people to like him, you know what I'm saying? And then what he decided to do was he started creating basically instruments. He started like getting a little bit of metal or something and then just banging on it and making like a little sound. and then he, eventually he created like a little, flute or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? And he started doing this, and he started making this musical sounds. So the people at this time, they never heard nothing like this. So they were blown away, like, wow, these people are like advanced, like, wow, what is this? You know what I mean? And that was the creation of music right there. So from its inception, it was from Shaitan, from the devil himself. And it was used as a tool, because what people started doing was they started gathering around to hear these sounds. They were blown away, like, wow. And he, and obviously he was good at it. And now they start gathering and stuff like that. And what they started doing was they started setting whole days to be around and just gather and be around this to hear these sounds and all that. It started grabbing them. Because music, it controls people. How many
people live by music, man.
Yeah, like, yo, tell me you never, like, you know what I'm saying, heard or maybe a rap song or whatever, and it make you a little like, yo, you feel like being crunk, like you feel like you punch somebody in the face or something. You know what I mean?
People channel their emotions through music. That's why it's so easy to manipulate people. And then, especially when you have a real melodic tune, you already captured the attention of the person. Now it's just a matter of feeding them these messages.
Yeah. And then, and this is the thing. So this was a thing that was created and used to control and manipulate people. And on top of that, it got people to waste time, because they were setting out a whole day aside, whether before they wasn't doing that. And now they send a whole day, and eventually this become little by little. It's like, you know how things are. This gets added, that gets added. Next thing you know, they partying. So now they partying. You know what I'm saying? To them, they're gathering, they partying to the music, and what they doing is they forgetting about the Almighty. They forgetting about that. You know what I'm saying? And then also on top of that, the keep in mind on this side, the women were attracted, but the men wasn't. But remember, Shaitan just came as a handsome man. So now they already feeling him. You know what I mean? They liking him already. Oh, he works hard. He's good looking. So then the women started changing the way they dress, the way they act to attract, to try to attract them. You know what I'm saying? So now you started getting this in the mix too. You know what I'm saying?
And we see a lot of that today.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, I heard Mufti Menk say one time, he was like, look, and it continues to this day. People set out a whole day, to party and to hear music.
Concerts, celebrations, all of these things. And then what's the first thing that do? Everybody gets super attractive to go to these things.
Yeah. And all kind of things come with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And alcohol, the intoxicants, the free mixing, mm-hmm. the fornication. Mm-hmm. It becomes like an orgy, man. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's a very subtle way of removing inhibitions from everything.
Yeah, and that's how Shaitan comes. He comes little by little. He ain't gonna just come right out like, hey, I got this thing music and y'all need to take the whole day. Nah. He will break you down little by little.
He's gonna start with just that melodic sound. Wow, I can't wait till tomorrow to hear that again.
Yeah.
And then it just gets longer and more intense and everything like that. And it's just like, that reminds me of the music industry today. It's like the same techniques and tactics are being used in the entertainment field. First, it's like, okay, I want to aspire to become a rapper or something, right? So I start writing my little lyrics and all that. You get your little name out there little by little. And then next thing you know, your fame starts to increase. You start to become more popular. And guess what happens right after that? Now you want to hit mainstream because, you already capped off on a lower level. But when you try to hit that mainstream, guess who you're going to run into? It's going to be Shaitan. It's going to be his workers. It's going to be somebody that advocates that lifestyle who's going to now test you and see how bad you want this.
Yeah.
because you already influencing a bunch of people. That's why they come to you with the test, because you got thousands of people listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, okay, if he says anything that we tell him to say, we got thousands of listeners now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the more powerful your voice is, the more attractive it is to the people, the more they're gonna want you.
Right. And so basically, you're a tool for Shaitan, and that's why it's no surprise. You look at, you know what I mean. You look at the industry, what they selling to the youth, man. Murder, death, drugs. That's what they selling.
None of it's good, but it sounds so excellent with these beats and these little new sounds and stuff that they're putting together.
Or great voice.
You wouldn't even be able to tell what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You got some artists talking about hell itself, and how it's good.
Yeah.
Like, how did that become a message?
It's and people, if you doubt that you having spells cast on you, think about this. You ever have a song just stuck in your head? You don't even know why. You ain't even been listening to the song. I know what happens to me.
It happens to me.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
it happens to everybody.
Everybody. It's like you just have this song stuck in your head. I ain't even listened to the song in years, and now I can't get it out of my head. All day long, I'm hearing that song play over and over and over and over. And the stuff gets disguised too. It's like disguised behind like what you were saying, like the melodic, elements of it. You know what I'm saying? Like look at John Lennon. You know what I'm saying? Which he said himself. He said he never created a song that wasn't filled with witchcraft.
And I mean, this has been going on since the beginning.
Yeah,
like the whole record playing backwards and all that other stuff. Some of it used to be more subliminal, but now it's very blatant. And they used to use a certain genre only to promote that kind of access because it was the most demonic and stuff like that. But they know now it doesn't have to be like a pure evil feel or something like that where you feel like you can see somebody's horns. Nah, it comes in a way where it's very deceptive. You just think that, oh, this is a party song. Or, oh, this person is just fly. They got swag and drip and blah, blah, blah. I want to be like them. Nah, you just under hypnosis at this point.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these people don't even want to be themselves.
And just think about it. You move it like it make you, how many songs make you want to dance? What is dancing? Like, when you really think about it, what is dancing? You can imagine, like,
to me, it's a mating call. Like, when you see, and I'm normally like, it's when you see the woman, that's usually who's dancing the most. It's usually a woman, and what does it do? It attracts you. Like you automatically get pulled in. Because I mean, they know what they're doing. They ain't gonna have a bunch of dudes dancing. They're gonna have the women dancing, and they all dance alike now.
But then
you could go down all social media and all that. And everybody twerking, everybody shaking it, and everybody doing these little stupid TikTok things. And I mean, it's just like everything is all the same from young to old at this point.
But the men dancing too, because what happens is they get what are men doing? Men are chasing women. You know what I'm saying? So a woman's gonna want to dance. You know what I'm saying? So what you gonna do? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If she want to bump and grind, what you gonna do?
You're gonna have to go follow suit. Yeah,
you know what I mean? And whether you want to or not, you know what I'm saying? And nowadays you got dudes that's straight twerking. Like dudes, I've seen gangster dudes straight twerking.
Just straight twerking,
like
man.
Popping it, like pop.
I mean, man. I mean, they got jokes out there and all that, man. No disrespect to some of these rappers, but it's like, y'all came home and y'all just started shaking even more. Yes. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. And then, and I mean, y'all can read between the lines because I don't feel like naming names on this one. You know what I'm saying?
We don't need that. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, so it's just like, y'all see what we see, man. So don't act like you don't see it. But it's like the whole entertainment business is to enter first. That's the first root of the word, is to enter. So you gotta kind of guard what's entering into your cipher, your realm, your household, your eyes, your ears, everything that you consume is entering you. So it's just like, that entertainment is a natural way of distorting reality and consuming morality of the human beings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even think that it's a bad thing because the music is playing on a higher frequency or something, or it's not sounding downtrodden. But if you ever look at these rappers and entertainers when they're not doing their job, just look at them, and you can kind of see how depressed they look.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They always look upset, or I mean, they always look at to say the least, they look bothered. And I mean, you can't be naturally happy when you having this lifestyle. When you know you playing, when you summoning devils and evil and all of that stuff, you can't be happy.
Right.
So just look at them, just observe and kind of see, like, man, they're sitting here. Some of these rappers, or let's just say some of these entertainers, they literally are safeguarding their own children from the products that they're putting out.
Right.
That's like the CEO of Pepsi not drinking Pepsi, which he doesn't actually. But it's just like, it's one of those examples. Like, you putting product out to the masses, but you don't partake in it at all.
Right. You shield your kids from it. Meanwhile, selling it to the masses, and the ones really falling victim, for the most part, is the youth. You know what I mean? They catch you young, like you said. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why y'all getting paid, man. Y'all getting paid for your performance. You see what it is that the more people you misguide, the better you get rewarded, because that's the objective. It ain't how many albums you can sell. It's how many people are going to be doing the things that you're promoting. Yeah. Because you don't live this way. Half of these rappers don't live the way they talk.
Right.
Half,
right.
More than that. Mm-hmm. Majority. They don't live the way they talk. It's just a recent fad now that, people want to do the whole gangster thing and live that real life or whatever. But the majority of times, these people talking about sliding on ops and doing all this drugs and all that stuff, man, they are just misleading y'all by the droves. And that's why they're getting paid. Because if you look at them, man, they eating sea moss and vegetables and all that stuff and working out 5-6 days a week. And you over here looking like a junkie after listening to their track.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy.
And on top of that, a lot, you see these artists, man, you see their rise, and then you see their fall, man. And because what happens is they really are selling their souls, man. How many artists you gotta hear over the years, no matter what genre, no matter what it is, you hear it over and over and over and over how they sold their soul. And a bunch of them end up getting buyer's remorse, and they know they can't get out of it. And they try, and some of them outright rebel. And those are the ones that are dead.
Majority of them, yeah.
Yeah, those are the ones that die under mysterious circumstances. And all you got to do is throw out a little thing out there. You know what I'm saying? Just basically a little story, like, okay, like, let's say, let's say Dolph, for instance. At first I was like, yeah, people are going to come out, they're going to try to say it was, this and that, whatever, they're going to try to tie it to, like, Illuminati or whatever it is, right? But here's the thing, man. When you look at him, he was straight. And as soon as he started doing that kind of stuff, like you start looking at imagery in the videos, and he's talking about certain things, he dead. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not a game, man. And I ain't saying no. Listen, who's behind it all? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I know that system is in place. There's a system in place. Names, I don't know. I can't tell you.
Nothing's by coincidence, man.
Yeah,
let's just keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to, like, I mean, you see some people, like you were saying, like, they get that change of heart, and next thing you know, they meet their demise. Yeah. It's just that simple. Like, if you're no longer with the agenda and you're not going to be misleading a bunch of people anymore, then why do we need you?
Right.
When there's plenty of other people that want to be in your spot because they don't know no better.
Right. And you know, it's like now you useless. You know,
Yeah.
and you got dudes.
You're the op because your voice can be used in another direction now.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not only useless, but you're a threat.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because the same people that you had under your spell, you can break that spell for them, and now they're woke. Yeah. And then what happens? The word of mouth, the grassroots movement, is one of the strongest movements that anybody can ever have. I mean, what happens when you go to a store and you like the service? You tell a friend to tell a friend, and guess what? Next thing you know, they're the next thing smoking. And it's the same thing when you get like a bad result from somebody. You tell somebody, they're going to tell 10. Every person you tell, they're going to tell 10 more. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So the word of mouth is a strong thing. The power's in the tongue, man. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you're not going to be with me, then you're against me automatically. And you know what people do to threats when they're in a position of power. Right. I mean, you read the Art of War, you read the 48 Laws of Power, you read all of these things. Yo, the op is never a good. You can never leave the op on the table, man. Right. You always got to do something about that.
Yeah, you know, you get nipped in the bud. You know what I mean?
Pretty much, man. Problem solved.
Yeah, and you know that's why, like, if you really, I don't care how much you love music or any kind of entertainment, man. My suggestion to you is turn around and run as fast as you can. Do not pursue.
Stay woke, man.
Yeah, like, do not pursue this stuff, man. Because I'm telling you, it's gonna come at a price that you don't even realize right now. You ain't willing to pay. And once you sign on that dotted line, once you agree, once you take that oath, that's it. It's binding.
It's not a game, man.
It's binding. And
it's a real thing. Like, you think that it's not real, like, or it's a game, or it's something to take lightly. Nah, what you're committing to is a life-changing decision. Yeah. And they're gonna hold you to it.
Yeah. And when you start, I think, you know what I think be happening? Like dudes like Jay-Z and just a bunch of people, like people that, especially a lot of, like, because in the music industry, you got a lot of 5%ers and stuff like that, right? And basically, if you really break it down, they're basically atheists. You know what I mean? Because, you know, they calling themselves God or whatever, but they don't, because they don't adhere to no one or nothing. It's basically no different than being an atheist, because you could basically just do whatever you want. There's no consequences, no nothing. There's no heaven, no hell, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of these dudes, right, you know, when they're younger, especially, like, you know, they come with this kind of mentality, right? But they don't really believe in God, right? So they trying to get rich and break in the industry. And when they start, you know, when they get in, they're like, all right, what I gotta do? What I gotta do? So when somebody tells them, oh, you serious? Okay. Well, you're gonna have to do this and this and this, right? And for them, if they hear that it's any kind of, let's say, rituals or whatever behind it, they don't really care, because if you don't believe that none of this is real, then you don't care. What? Okay, I'll
but
play,
you know what
I
be
thinking
along, too?
you know
I be thinking a lot of these cats, to be honest with you, I be thinking they don't go to none of these rituals and none of that. It's only a few of those people in that population that actually commit to this. I think they tell them, hey, listen, just make sure you throw these signs up to let them know who you riding with. You know what I mean? Maybe we got a couple of pieces of humiliation items on you or something like that.
That's a ritual.
Show me your commitment. Yeah, I mean, to some degree, but I don't think, like, they really are in the no. You know what I mean? Like, I think they have an idea, but they don't have the strongest clue. Like, I think, you know, they have some level of understanding, but there's a lot of those pieces that are missing in their picture for them. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Well, because, yo, what soldier do you know fights a war when they have a knowledge of what they're fighting? You get what I'm saying? You got to keep a person in the dark to keep them fully committed. So the more information you give them, the less likely they're going to commit. You see what I'm saying?
It's kind of the nature of that whole thing, because what happens is, it's kind of like you look at certain societies or whatever it is, right? What happens is usually you have different levels, right? And they all under a certain umbrella, right? And usually what happens is you reach this level, okay, you know this, or okay, when you down here, you just know, like you saying, you know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm just being told to do this. All right, I'll do that. You know what I mean? But you don't really know the full depth of it. But then once you try to take that next step, what happens is they tell you a little bit more. They tell you, okay, all that, forget all that. This is what you need to know. And now you know this, right? But when it's time to go to that next level, guess what they tell you? All right, what you knew right here, forget all that. This is what it is. And it just keeps going. And the higher you go, the more you're taught about what it really is. And it's only those people, similar to basically what you're saying, it's the people when you reach in high levels, really high levels, those are the people that know what time it is.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like the majority of people that's being used is exactly what's happened. They're being used.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't feel like, I mean, if you just take a mental picture about all these people that we could be potentially talking about, I don't see 80% of them going to these rituals and doing all this blood drinking and sitting in the pentagrams and all that, man.
Nah.
I just feel like a lot of times they got some dirt on you, right? And or they're just saying, throw these little signs up or say these things because this is what I want you to do. I want you to show that you're on my side. Because a lot of these people get spooked out because a lot of them come from decent backgrounds. It's not like, like they're not all 5%ers. They're not all this. They're not all that.
Right.
I mean, you got some people whose parents was like, in the church or in the mosque or whatever, right? And all of a sudden,
Facts.
You got an offering to become popular, become famous, to become successful. But they know that because those people at the top done read every scripture out. And they know how to manipulate each crowd.
And that's the thing. So, that's why I do agree with what you're saying. That because if you think about what I was saying with the different levels, that's when you start finding out what it really is. The higher closer you get to up here.
But some people are not willing, and others are not able to go to those levels.
For sure. And that's why most of the people, if you down here, you just a peon. You know what I'm saying? So you don't need to know. And that's where most people, the lower the totem pole, the more numerous it is. You know
that's
what I'm saying?
That's why they be getting off, man.
You can't have like 1 million bosses. You know what I'm saying?
And also, they're not offing those people on the other levels because they made those conscious decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like those people that hit those high levels, they're not really offering them like that because they're less likely to get a change of heart. You're all in. Right. You get what I'm saying? But those peons, they're on the ropes, man. Oh, you don't want to throw up the sign no more? You're going to have a car accident. You get what I'm saying?
Yep. Your plane going to crash.
Yeah,
you're going to overdose.
Your chopper going to go down. You're going to have a road accident in the middle of another country. You get what I'm saying? Yep. Like, yo, man.
You overdose on drugs. You committed suicide.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Hung himself, and he was just successful the day before. Come on, man. Word. That's why I said, like, yo, those are the peon levels, and it supersedes any like race or anything like that. If you're somebody in society that can influence people, they're gonna use you. And if they use you, and then they find that you now are woke or you have a change of heart, then look out for what's next, man.
Yeah. And
because peons are expendable.
Yeah.
You can't see certain people getting killed off, man. Like, just think about those high-powered people, man. Think about it. You really think that you're gonna one day find them hung in their hotel room or something? Nah, man. They made the conscious decision. Those are the ones doing the ritual. Yeah. Those are the ones that are doing the handling for the people underneath them.
And they're not gonna cross the lines because they know what time it is. Like, they really know what time it is. And exactly. They know how much of it's not a game. And because of that, they ain't going to cross those lines. They know, like, okay, this is the bet I made. I can't, that's it. I'm in too
Some
deep.
people fully commit just because of that.
Huh?
Some people fully commit just because of that. Now, this is the bet I made. I'm not gonna do it half style. I'm gonna go all the way with it. I mean, I made the decision, and the further you go, the more knowledge you get, the more you get locked in.
Yeah. And
You know what I'm saying?
And that's why my suggestion ain't to fight back. I'm sorry to say, look, I ain't that courageous to listen. Let me tell you, cause I ain't trying to fight back. I ain't none of that. Listen, don't fight back. Don't try to change nothing. Don't even try, cause you're gonna be gone. You're gonna lose that battle, and you're gonna be gone. You know what I'm saying? And what's gonna happen? And basically, it's like what it makes. Cause look, here's the thing too. For those that don't know, there's somebody that's gonna come, and his name is the Dajjal. And he's gonna come, and he's gonna take over everything. He's gonna rule this world. And what's being put in place right now is his system. That's what's been going on for the longest. His system's been being put in place. And one thing that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, one thing that he said, don't when he takes power, don't even fight him. He said, don't even fight him. Just try to guard you and your family. Just try to go away, stay away. That's it.
You're going to have believers believing in him.
Yes.
You're going to have believers believing in him. You're not playing with like something that you can easily discern. It's going to fool the learned people as well.
Yes.
The only ones who are going to be guided are the ones who Allah allows to be guided.
Yeah.
That's why we have du'as and sayings and all these things that help protect us and put us in a position where we won't fall short like that. But at the end of the day, that's why you got all these killings. That's why it's all this chaos. That's why a lot of stuff don't make sense, because it's set in the grounds. It's setting the stage for the next level.
Yeah,
and they know it. System. We know it. And the only ones that don't are the ones being used, or the ones that's not interested. And also the ones that are just being caught up in that whole situation. That's why I said, man, if you want to really enlighten yourself and wake up, turn off the radio, man. Stop listening to music, man.
And even
it's attractive and all that. Yeah, I hear that, man. We all came from that. But the only way to truly enlighten is if you turn it off, man. Put your mind to where it needs to be. You know what I'm saying?
It shows too, though. Like shows, movies, certain things like
entertainment. There's messages and everything. Man.
Yeah, man. Because they poison
messages
people
and everything. But
they use
music is truly the avenue, because you can play that all day, every day. Ain't nobody gonna look at movies all day, every day. I mean, you got a few people, but just imagine how many other people actually listen to music all day, every day.
Right.
It's an easier approach.
So they use different avenues of entertainment. It's even trickled down to sports.
Yeah.
Now you got the woke athletes, the so-called woke athletes that are pitching poison to people too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you see certain athletes that throw it up every game, man. Like they already know that they are part of that world, man.
Yeah, and that are promoting certain things that's clearly not godly. You know what I'm saying? You got NBA stars that's promoting certain things, man. That's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? Like all kind of and that's all sports. You know what I'm saying? It's not a game, man. Like
I mean, I've seen soccer players, all that, man. Like it's literally in every whatever they can expose to, because you got to understand, Shaitan doesn't sleep. We do. You get what I'm saying? So what happens is, there's always going to be something cooking while we're not paying attention. Word. So no matter what it is, it's going to be a new commercial. It's going to be a new drink. It's going to be a new sport. It's going to be a new handler. There's going to be a new promoter, a new song, a new this, a new that. It's always going to be something else that we can't keep up with, because we rest and he doesn't.
Yeah. And it just, if y'all look at everything, it's only getting worse. And if you think it's going to Go back to when it was a little bit better. You bugging. You bugging. It's not gonna happen. It's only gonna get worse. It's gonna continue and just get worse and worse and worse and worse. Until, and I'm telling you, you could not believe it, you could whatever, you know what I mean? Obviously we Muslims, so we're gonna tell y'all what we know. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you, the job was coming, man. And his system is almost all it's just primed and ready for him. You know what I'm saying? And one thing is, this is gonna be the greatest trial mankind has ever faced in the entire history of human beings. There will never be a trial that's gonna be greater than that. Cause you're gonna get tested with things that's like that we could say, like we could act like we strong and this and that, and we
It's
could act like
necessary
whatever.
for our well-being, man. You gonna be tested with the food you eat, man.
Exactly. Like what you gonna do, okay, if somebody comes and he goes and he tells you, I'm your God, right? And let's say it hasn't rained. It hasn't rained, crops are failing, there's famine in the world. You can't even grow crops if you wanted to. And he comes and he tells you, you accept me, I'm your God, and if you accept me, then guess what? Huh? I'm gonna make it rain. And he makes it rain. Or he tells you, he brings to you, he tells you, what if I bring your mother that died, your grandmother that died, that you love so much, or your father that died, that you love so much, and he bring them in front of you, and it looks just like him, and talks just like, same voice, all that, and it's telling you he is God. You need to believe him. You need to follow him.
You're gonna fall short.
Yeah, it's gonna be. You could.
And you
act
feel
like
realize,
right
man.
now.
You know, jinns, they have a different lifespan than we do. So they was around the ancestors. They was around your grandparents, your great grandparents, your uncle, your pops, your moms. They was around, and they understood how they talked and everything. They know those intimate secrets. They might tell you something that, oh, only her and I knew about this. Right. And that there it is. You off to the races.
Right.
And I mean, like with the whole weather control thing, they doing that already. They creating climates, man. They creating weather. So it's going to be easy to do something like that at that point. And guess what? You got people like Bill Gates that's buying up all the farmland.
Yeah. He already owns.
What you think going to happen? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he already owns the majority.
Like over 240 some acres in America only.
Yeah, he owns the majority of the farmable land in America. He owns it already.
Why do you think? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, like you gotta put the pieces together, man. It's beyond music. It's beyond entertainment. It's just the world that we're living in. But those are the avenues that they're actually gonna be hypnotizing you and putting you to sleep while the stage is being set, man.
Yeah. And
they're telling you to go get your popcorn and candy and your drinks and come have a seat after that because the intermission is almost over.
Right. And we just steady asleep, man. We just steady. You know, a lot of us don't. We just like, oh man, you know, y'all just talking crazy stuff. You know, this and the conspiracy. You know, it's easy to knock things down because you just don't want to believe it.
You know, the government came up with that whole thing, conspiracy, to shoot down the credibility of the truth.
Yeah, it's the
you know what I'm saying? It's not. Things are conspiracies when you don't want to believe them. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing, man. Like this is something that we can't. That's why to reiterate, don't even try to change it. Like don't even I'm sorry. Like that might not be a message you want to hear. Like you might expect me to be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like yo, you need to fight this. You need to do. Nah, that ain't my suggestion. You know, do what you will. You know, take it however you want. Listen, do not fight these people, this thing. Don't fight it. Stay away from it. That's it. It's like if you don't believe in gangs, am I gonna tell you go over there and try to fight all the gangs and fight them? You gotta be stupid. That's suicide.
What you need to do is identify what a gang is, what they're capable of, and how to avoid being traumatized or caught up in that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Stay away.
Like that's all this is about.
Right.
It's not going out there to fight. Yeah, of course. I mean, we all want to be Bravehearts, but you got to tie your camel, which means you got to secure what you have going on for you first before you just jump off the cliff. You know what I'm saying? And fighting a person, right? Fighting a thing right now is jumping off the cliff.
Yes.
But just prepare yourself, tie your camel, stay woke, have all the knowledge that you need to have so you can identify certain things.
Right.
So it won't be a shocker to you because the more you know, the more you're able to prepare. The shock factor is one of the best factors to get a person to conform because it happens right there on the spot. And then you got people that's already planned it that got your solution in play already.
Mm-hmm.
Just go ahead and do it this way, man. We got you. Don't worry about it. You know, we was waiting for this moment. You wasn't because you was busy watching sports, entertainment, going to parties, drinking liquors and all that. You know, lowering your frequency, lowering your mindset. You know what I'm saying? Letting the gates open to being deceived.
That's why
when you woke, man, you don't put all of those poisons in your body and stuff like that. You kind of start addressing things with a more noble approach. And it's harder to dupe a person like that.
You know what's sad too? Nowadays they done ruined that word, being woke. You know what I mean? They call being woke like believing in some nonsense. Some stuff be straight up nonsense, and they call it being woke. You know what I'm saying? That's the damn shame. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, that's the falseness and everything today. But like, you know what? We all responsible for the knowledge that we attain, man. And what the right and wrong, the criterion of right and wrong is embedded in us. It's hardwired in us. We're all built with that. It's what you call fitra or nature or natural. Just the fact that what's right and wrong, you're able to distinguish without a book.
Yeah, usually, you know, sometimes we get, sometimes we get poison enough
too much, and then we can't distinguish.
Yeah. So that do happen too, you know. But initially, we had that in us. You know what I mean? That's why you have. It don't matter where you go, right? Any tribe you go to any isolated tribe in the world, right? That maybe never made any contact with nobody else or this and that. And why do they always believe in a higher power? Why do they always believe in God? It's that God might be something that's not really God, but they always come to there's a higher power. It's because
they always distinguish themselves as a creation versus the creator or the higher being or something like that.
And this is innately,
no matter where you go.
And that's that fitra. It's innately in us. You know what I mean? It's the natural inclination. You know what I'm saying? Because there is a creator. There's no design without an architect. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny, man. It's like people could look at a robot, right? And be like, wow, what an amazing design. You know, because the robot's doing this and it's doing that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wow, what an amazing design. Wow. But then
somebody created that.
But yeah, they already know, like, wow, this is incredible design. But they won't look at something like a human being, an animal. Like when you break it down to to the microscope level and the microscopic level, and you see like the way the genes work and this and that and DNA and all these things, the building blocks of life, and you don't come to the same realization. How do you look at this, which is way easier, way simpler? You know what I'm saying? And see that as design with a creator, and you don't look at everything you see, trees and the skies and the stars and this everything, and you not amazed by that. You don't see. I mean, especially like it's funny. Einstein said the more knowledge that he attains, the more he realizes there has to be a God. And that was Einstein.
A lot of people of thinking class usually comes to that conclusion. They question things until they can no longer question. Like you just have to submit. And that's where, like, wherever our knowledge ends is where faith begins, man. We got to understand that we didn't do any of this.
Right.
I mean, you can look up in the sky. There's some people that believe that, there's water above us and below us, whether it is or not. We didn't make that. We know that there's barriers that prevent these big tons of clouds falling on our head at one single time. We didn't create that.
Right.
There's life in the sea right now that we can't even distinguish because it never came into human knowledge. But yet it still exists and eats and sleeps and drinks and feeds and reproduces, and we have no control over that.
Yeah.
And that's just to the people who think they're gods, man. I understand that, there's a sense of self-esteem that you want to, empower yourself and your people. I respect that, man. I respect it, but don't be misguided in the same time.
Yeah, like, I used to be a 5%er, and I remember me saying, right, like, basically people, one thing that they pitch is that, like, well, we God, cause, look, I could create, I have children, or I could take a life, you know what I mean? I could give life or take life, you know what I mean? Cause I could make a child, or I could kill somebody.
Yeah, in a smaller sense, because God doesn't have time to like He gives us responsibilities too. I'm not gonna say He doesn't have time, but God also gives us responsibilities too.
But even,
so we're able to procreate. Yes, you know what I'm saying?
That's not creating.
Yes, we're able to take lives and give lives and all that. But who started this whole thing?
But that's what I'm saying is that's not creating though. All that is that might be procreating. That's not actual creation. Because real creation is
from nothing to something.
It's from nothing. It's when you have nothing and you make something. And even taking life, you ain't taking that life unless Allah say you taking it. Unless He say, because how many times you could, listen, I could walk up to you and pop you dead in your head. I could put a gun right here and pop you in the head. And there's no guarantee that you're dead. Many people have fallen from how many stories and where all logic, all science, everything say they should be dead. Or they get popped mad times in the head and this and that. And they supposed to be dead. And they live.
You got people that get shot 9 times and survive, and somebody could choke on a beam and not make it.
Exactly. So what that say is you got no real control. And don't wait till you get in a situation. Look, it's easy to be, tough and bold and cocky and this and that when you got good health, you know what I'm saying? And
but you know what's
like
crazy
Let
too?
him take that health. Let a doctor tell you tomorrow, you know what? You got stage 4 cancer and if you got 2 weeks left, you lucky. Then what? Where's your power now?
But you know what's crazy too? Just the fact that, you got all these people that are being misled, right? By Shaitan, or by the devil, or by Satan, whatever you want to label him as, right? You got all these people being misled by him, and he even knows what we talking about to be true. That's what's crazy. He never stopped worshiping Allah. You know what I'm saying? He just did his own thing because he ain't like what he was being asked of. He still called him Lord. You know what I'm saying? There's still a sense of submissiveness there, but he just knows he's cursed because of what he did.
Yeah.
So if the misleader, the grand misleader, can mislead and still believe, then what's wrong with all of these sheep that's walking around, man? You know what I'm saying? Why y'all feel like y'all God Almighty and all this other stuff, and it's just very far fetched. But at the end of the day, you just got to keep in mind, man. Just kind of protect yourself from what what you expose yourself to, man. And in this case, all of that starts to happen because you expose yourself to music, you expose yourself to entertainment. Yo, man, I remember at one point people used to read books, man. You don't hear nobody suggesting people books to read or nothing like that no more.
Right.
It's crazy. So I just feel like, I know this is something we could talk about all day long because it's real. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like just to kind of come back full circle, I just want y'all to understand that music is dangerous, is very deceptive and hypnotic, and is designed to mislead people. It's not designed for anything else.
Right. It's all part of that test. Because life is a test, whether you want to accept that or not. You could not want to be tested. You could not want to be judged. You could not want to whatever. A little kid don't want to be hit. You know what I mean? Don't want to get in trouble or punished or whatever it is. You know? But that don't stop it from happening. So it don't matter what you want. It's what is. It's what is. And you could be in denial all you want. But that ain't going to help you. In the end, that ain't going to help you. And, you know, that's one of the things I love about Islam, man, is that it's preemptive. It tell you it just get you to just stay away from this whole situation. You know what I'm saying? Avoid this whole situation. Avoid it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the message.
Instead of
right
trying
there.
to discern what's good and what's bad and kind of distinguish it on a limited scope, I mean, you're human, so you already bound by limitations. So for you to try to interpret anything or make sense of anything is only to your own fault, to your own tragedy, because the one who created is letting you know, yo, this ain't even what you should be doing at all.
Right.
Just take the advice from the person who created. I mean, if you got somebody that architected a building and they created the entire building from the ground up, and they say, listen, man, the right elevator is never really too good, man. I would suggest the left one. Are you going to take the right one out of curiosity, or are you going to listen to the person and take the left one every time?
Exactly.
I just, calm down and really think about what you're doing, man.
Word. I really feel this real important, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad we touched on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even they can take it with a grain of salt or not, but the message is out there. It's really up to you. Just like any other message, in the end of the day, it's your choice whether you want to listen to it, want to be bound by it, or you just want to disregard it altogether. I mean, people say it's one life, YOLO, life is short. I want to do it up. I don't want to feel like I have a boring life, blah, blah, blah. But you just got to keep in mind, the reason why we're here as human beings is to worship the Creator. That's why our lives is limited. 60, 70, 80 years, 90 years, 100 years max. I mean, you got history that's longer than a person's life. So just keep that in mind. He didn't make all of this just for us to live 100 years once. Oh, yeah, that whole YOLO approach. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do. And just I'll see you on the other side, inshallah.
Word. Yeah, man. So to the next one, hey, all in with Ak and O. Peace.